Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, PD, back with another Carlisle Cult Cinemacast. And this week, I'm presenting the one and only, the legendary Larry Hankin. And basically, we're here to bring stories, the magic of him when he was in the films, some behind the scenes stuff, and just get some absolutely cracking stories from this talented gentleman who's shown his book off, that guy, which I'll be using that to advertise the podcast as well. Go and buy Larry Hankin's book, that guy, because let's be honest, everyone goes, who's that guy again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that guy.
That's it. You were for up until I kind of got the internet, you were just, there's that guy who was in such and such, and that's him again.
Exactly. So I thought that would be a good name for the book.
That's it.
Yeah.
Larry Hankin's career spans over several decades, starting off, I think, on TV, 66.
Well, yeah. I mean, the official start was kind of like in 69, 70, 71. I'm trying to pinpoint it. I think around 71. That's my official one.
Yeah.
Because that was when I moved down to LA, and that's when Escape from Alcatraz, they shot it in San Francisco, and then I flew down there and I stayed. So 71 is when my careers, but I started in, let's see, 1950, 56, yeah, 56 or something. But around 1960, I started in show business right after I graduated in 1960 from college. And I just dropped industrial design. That's what I went to college for, industrial design. And I just, once I got the degree, I went straight to Greenwich Village in New York City. Then the hippies, and it's 1960. I just walked into the 60s. There it was in Greenwich Village, beads and long hair, and I was in a suit. I mean, I just stood out. I was a weird guy. They're very straight, like, what do they call it? A dweeb, a dork. I didn't know nothing. And I slowly adapted into a stand-up comedian, and then, because I was a funny guy, in high school.
Well,
so stand-up, yeah, go ahead.
When you started off in stand-up, didn't you kind of, like the first on before Woody Allen and Richard Pryor, and that must have been incredible. Just, I mean, them two guys alone, who were just so renowned for comedy, that must have been good.
Well, I opened for Woody. That's my first job. I went to, I graduated Syracuse University, just dumped my family and my degree. I never looked back. I just kept on going to Greenwich Village and West. And, I would talk to him on the phone, but that was about it. I was doing, yeah.
When you were at university, wasn't your classmates Frank Langella and Carl Gottlieb?
Carl Gottlieb was my best friend in Syracuse, and he took me to Greenwich Village. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just didn't want to be an industrial designer. And the night of graduation in Syracuse, New York, I got into a bar fight. I started it. And I wasn't even drinking. It was about over a girl, man. It was a stupid fight. It was a stupid, dumb fight. I hit the guy because he accused me of something I didn't do. That's what started it. He lied to me in a bar in front of everybody, and he told me he told me that he heard that I was screwing his girlfriend. And that's like a big insult, because I wasn't. I mean, we were friends. I knew her. And then he said, "No, you did that. You did." I said, "No, I didn't." And he kept on insisting that and I said, "Oh," and then he hit her. He hit her. And I asked him point blank, yeah, because of this, because of what he accused me of, he hit her in the bar, right in front of everybody. And I said, guys can't hit girls. And he said, oh, I didn't know that, he said. And that just incensed me. And I said, well, I just wanted to find out if the facts were true. And I wanted to get that from you, that you accused her and me of sleeping together, and you hit her because of that. Is that true? And he said, yeah. And she ran out when he hit her. She was crying and she ran out of the bar. And then this started. And so I said, okay, I just wanted to get those facts straight because she's not here now. I just wanted to get the facts straight. Okay. Damn. And I just hit him. I said, guys can't hit girls.
Oh,
So he took me outside, and he was like a tough guy, man. I mean, and he took me outside and he said, do that again. He said, try to do that again, is what he said. He said, you sucker punched me. Try to do that again. So we're standing outside of the bar. And I said, no, I don't want to do it again because now we're even. You hit her, I hit you. Everything is even now, and I'm not mad anymore. And he said, yeah, but I am. And he hit me. And then the fight started and I lost, man. He just wiped the street up with me. No, I mean, he was a big tough guy, man. He was a lacrosse player. If there's anybody tougher than a football player, it's a lacrosse player. They do the same thing as in football, only without the pads and the costume. They just shorts and a t-shirt, gloves to protect their hands from being hit with the stick. So they wear gloves. That's their protection. But they worked with a stick, a lacrosse stick. Well, I mean, if you're playing a game where people have sticks and they can hit you with it, and the only protection you have are your hands with gloves, I mean, I'm not going to win that fight. I mean, it's just, I'm not. I mean, and so he wiped that. So I said, okay, industrial design is, well, he dislocated my arm, man. I mean, that was a start. They bruised my ribs. So I couldn't draw because I'm a lefty. But I didn't want to go into industrial design anyway. I was just doing it for my parents. So that gave me a great excuse. So I thank him for that. I couldn't, yeah. He did me a favor. There's no way I could, because I'm not righty. So I couldn't design anything, So I told my parents, I'm going to Greenwich Village because I can't use my hand. Oh, and Carl, who took me to Greenwich Village, when we graduated, we drove back from Syracuse to New York. He said, I'm doing summer stock. So we graduated in September, and then he was going to do summer stock or something. Then I went with him, and he said, you can design sets because you're a designer. And I said, yeah, but I can't use my arm. And he said, so I can't draw. So he said, because we a stage, summer stock. So he said, no, we have drawers, we have designers there, but you'll be the head designer. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to draw. You just be in charge of the stage sets, just design them. So I did that for the summer, and my arm healed. And so he said, where are you going? I said, I don't know. I don't want to be an industrial designer. My arm is healed. Where are you going? And he said, he's going to Greenwich Village. He's going to be a writer. He always wanted to be a writer, and he wrote Jaws and all those movies. Yeah. So he said, so I said, can I go with you? I'll be your roommate. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I went with him, and we got an apartment in Greenwich Village. And I had saved up a couple of bucks just for about 2 months' rent is all I had. I was a starving student. But I say because I knew, okay, Carl is going. And then he guaranteed that he would, if I didn't come up with the money for the rent for 1 month, he would guarantee me 1 month's rent, but then he would kick me out. If I didn't come up with the second month's rent, he would kick me out, my best friend. So I got a job in Greenwich Village with all these coffee houses and stuff. I got a job bussing bars after last call. at 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So I was bussing bars, cleaning up peanut shells and, turned over chairs and stuff. So, but I had my evenings free. I had the whole day and evening. Well, I slept during the day, worked at night, 2 to 6. And then I would go to Greenwich Village, all the coffee houses, and I would just watch, these 3-minute, these open mic nights. You get 3 minutes on stage.
Yeah.
So I saw all these comedians. All it was comedians, males, no females at that time in the 60s, in the beginning. Just male comedians, 3 minutes, and folk singers, long-haired, men and women, folk singers. So that was the open mic nights. And I did my 3 minutes, and I was very bad. I was terrible. But I was a funny guy in high school, and what I learned is that making your friends laugh is not like making a paying audience laugh.
Sure.
It's two different things. So I thought, yeah, I'm a funny guy, and it didn't work, man. I was like bad for about a month, but I wouldn't stop. I always, I can do it better tomorrow. The only great thing about being in Greenwich Village in the 60s when I was trying to be a comedian was that there was about 30 coffee houses in Greenwich Village at that time. I mean, there's coffee houses all over the place. So, 3 to a block in this very small 10-block area. So what I would do is I would sign up in every way. You have to sign up for, your 3 minutes, and you're go from 9 o'clock to 9:03. Okay, so I would sign up in all of them. And one evening, I'd start early at like 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. And I'd sign up in all of the 30 or 20 or however many it was. But in what do you call it? One after another. So if I signed up at 7 o'clock here, I'd sign up at 7:15 here, and then 7:30 there. So I could do my 3 minutes, run to the next one. So I'd just go boom, 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 boom. And that's what I did for like 6 months. So I got pretty good because I was doing like a minimum of 10 shows a night, 3 minutes in the beginning. But my hunks, as they call them, hunks, got longer and longer. So when I had about like 10 solid minutes after about 2 or 3 months, good stuff that worked. But the coffee house, one coffee house hired me for a Saturday, like Friday and Saturday were the money nights. So you couldn't do 3-minute things. They had, half hour and hour shows. But the coffee house hired me to be the MC because I had 10 minutes of good material. So I would interject it between introducing, the real acts, the funny people. So, and then one night while I was MCing and I was doing like about 10 minutes of good stuff, they let me, go on. A manager came in. And he said, hey, that was pretty funny what you did. I said, well, thank you. I'm trying. And he goes, do you have a manager? And I go, no. And he says, would you like one? I said, that's why we're all here. We're not here to make money. I mean, we're not here because we like to be here. We're here to get representation. That's why we're here. And if you want to manage me, fine. I got representation. And that was bragging rights in those days. In Greenwich Village in 1960, I was there for like all of 1960, 60 to 61. That was bragging rights. I had bragging rights for a year. Man, you got to, but I didn't know who my manager was. I knew his name, but I didn't know what he did. I just said, I want bragging rights. I didn't care if he was a good manager or a bad manager. If you had a manager, you had bragging rights. So I had bragging rights. And then somebody said, well, what's his name? And I said, Jack Rollins. And he goes, that's Woody Allen's manager. And I go, oh, really? Oh. And Woody was working in a nightclub about 3 blocks away in a real nightclub. He was not Woody Allen. So then Jack Rollins, my manager, called and said, okay, we're going to start booking you. And I go, great. And he goes, your first booking is 3 blocks away. You're going to open for Woody. Whoa, that's great, man. He says, but you have to wear a tuxedo. It's a nightclub. They have not folk singers, they have like chanteuses and,
Yeah, yeah.
female singers in gowns and microphones. And, so I said, I don't have any money. Carl is backing me up on the rent. What are you talking about? So he said, oh, so he bought me a tuxedo. And I thought, wow, man, that's a manager. That's a big deal, man. He bought me, he didn't rent it. See, my father hated show business. So if it was my father who was managing me, he would have rented a tuxedo for one night because he
Yeah.
knew I would bomb. But no, Jack Rollins bought me a tuxedo. I don't know. I don't have it. It's in storage somewhere. But anyway, so that's
Parents,
what got. Excuse me.
sometimes parents just don't have the faith in you that they should.
Well, yeah, that's true. But at some point, you got to get the faith in yourself, whether or not they have faith in you. And that took me a couple of years because my father just dunned me with this. No, you're bad. You're stupid. You can't do anything. Well, he's one of those fathers, just dysfunctional. So, but that's how I got into show business through Jack. But then I found out that Woody's audience. Now, I knew about George Carlin, I knew about Richie Pryor, I knew about Woody Allen. But if you get into it, George Carlin and Richie Pryor's audience wasn't Woody Allen's audience. Oh. So I had to separate because I was saying to Jack, I would call him and say, hey, I would open for Woody and nobody would laugh. And then Woody would come out and kill. It's just not working, man. And he said, yeah, you have two different audiences. You have to find your audience. He found his. Now you got to go out and find yours. So I went on, nightclub tours all over America, buses and cars and flying. And I was doing okay. But again, Richie Pryor's audience was mine. George Carlin's audience was mine. But I was still opening for nightclub acts. And sometimes like Kingston Trio, I was opening for, for instance, I was opening for Miles Davis. Miles Davis's audience was my audience, jazz, hip, intelligent people. But Kingston Trio's audience wasn't my audience. I mean, they would come at me with fucking beer bottles upside down. Get the F off the stage. Whoa. Well, I want to finish my act. That's my only comeback. I mean, I didn't know anything. I was just funny, but naive. No, I want to finish my act first. I got 20 minutes. Hey, I said, and then he came over. Thank God there were dance floors in nightclubs because I saw him coming across the dance floor. He comes out of the darkness with this upside down beer bottle in his hand. And he was a starker, man. He was like, the guy who beat me up in college. I go, not again. Sorry, been here, done this. So I just got off the stage, and he went back to his seat. So I sat at the bar. And the bartender comes up to me and he goes, hey, you got 10 more minutes. I go, did you see that guy come at me with a beer bottle? Yeah, you got 10 more minutes. Get out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. I said, no, man. Well, you get rid of him and I'll go out there. But if you don't get rid of him, I'm not going out there. He's going to kill me, man. He had a beer bottle in his hand. Well, where's the bouncer? And the bartender says, I'm the bouncer. Get out there or you're fired. And I said, no, I quit. And I walked out. And so that was the end of my nightclub stand-up career. I called Jack and I said, hey, man, a guy came in with a beer bottle, man. What are you doing? But, he's sending me out on these club dates and I'm going to get killed. And he says, oh, yeah, well, that's part of show business, Larry. But if you can't take it, if you can't take the heat, get out. What Woody would do, because when I was opening for him, he was also beginning too, but he didn't get into fights. But I would hear him go into the bathroom and throw up before he went on. I mean, see, he became nervous, very nervous. But then he would throw up, he would come out, and then he would go on. And he would say, "How did you do, Larry?" Because he was in the bathroom throwing up while I was, doing my act. So I said, "No, they didn't like me." He goes, "Cool, well, they're gonna like me." And he would get on the stage and he would kill. He would kill. So for you people that don't know show business, stand-up, killing doesn't mean blood. It means you got a lot of laughs. Okay.
Yeah.
So but Jack said, why don't you join Second City? Because they have Richie Pryor's audience and George Carlin's audience, but they can't throw you out because they own this theater. So they'll throw the people out. So that's what I joined Second City. I did audition. I got in. And then we broke up. Well, no, we didn't break up. 5 of us left Second City and went to San Francisco and started the committee, which and within a year, we were as famous as Second City. We had lines around the block. So I wanted to just stay there and spend the rest of my life doing that. I love improv. But they kept on hiring us to go, LA, the producers, movies, television would fly up to see, because they didn't want to fly to Chicago. It's too far away. But up there, just an hour trip one way and back. And so that's how I got into how you know me, show business, TV, and movie. So that's okay. So now I'll turn the show over to you.
No.
That's the background.
For my generation, which is, I'm 48 now, so I started seeing your stuff in the 80s. I know. 49 next 3 weeks' time. Oh dear. I started seeing you pop up in stuff in the 80s, like, because obviously we didn't get a lot of, in Britain, we didn't get a lot of American TV shows.
Well, probably now you do. You get Friends and all those things.
Yeah, we get loads now, but back then you didn't get.
Right. No.
But I think one of the first things I'll have seen you in will have been Running Scared, where you played Ace.
Yeah. But again, I was very naive. I guess I'm just a naive guy. I'll be naive until I, move on. But I'm just, I don't. Well, I am ADHD and dyslexic. So that adds to my misunderstanding, which causes the naivete name.
Yeah.
But it's really, I interpret everything in 2 ways. If there's any way of misinterpreting what you say, I will misinterpret it. And I just go with it, because I know I've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. So I just say what comes out of my mouth, figuring I got a 50-50 chance of being right.
This is very true. True.
Yes. So I was betting on that. I got to wipe that away. So I was betting on that. But there was 50% of the chance I would get it wrong, which then I got the appellation of, man, he's just naive. He doesn't know what you're talking about. I've had big stars talking to me and their managers, or when it was Dylan who was talking to me, he wanted me to write something for him, and I didn't understand what the hell he was saying, because I didn't like Dylan yet. I got to revere him, but this was when he first came out, but his road manager, who was just as old as both of us were, we were about in our 20s or something. We were in a bar talking, and his road manager, Bobby Newirth, who's a great guy, passed on now. But I could see him. We were sitting in the booth, and he just elbows Dylan. He goes like this, and he goes, "Bob, he doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about." Just right in front of me. And Bob turns to him and goes, "Yeah, I know. Just let me explain it to him, okay?" And so he turns and he says, "No, what I mean is," now, if I found out years later what he meant, and it was very simple. What he was talking about, Dylan had written a song about bleachers out in the sun, Highway 61, that song, right. 61. He had just written that, and I didn't know about MTV. MTV had just come online in the 60s, and I never had watched it. I heard about it, the other people in the committee, were talking about, hey, I saw this new thing, but I hadn't seen it yet. So he was talking in flashing images, which he's said in interviews are what his songs are about. He doesn't write line by line to rhyme. He writes rhyming, flashing images, which is okay. I understand that. But all he was talking about was the words and the images that he wanted. Like he was saying, Sammy Davis Jr. is tap dancing on a bar. The wallpaper is newspapers. We'll have bleachers on a road, hence the bleachers out in the sun, And he was telling me all these things and images, and I couldn't put it together as, as a movie that I knew movies and television that I knew. So I couldn't, I was like in my late 20s, but I still had the mentality of like a 90-year-old, it's, what are you talking about? So finally he gave up. Dylan gave up. He said, okay, thank you, Larry. Goodbye. We'll talk, And he left. And I thought, well, my hero, I mean, he was starting to be my hero at the time, but I still didn't get the flashing images MTV thing.
Yeah.
And I felt terrible because, to not understand your hero when he's talking to you in person is embarrassing, man. It's, it's like your father giving you a whack or something. It's just,
awestruck as well, and things just don't, go in properly.
Say that again.
Sometimes you can be a little bit kind of awestruck of the person as well. So
with the awe thing going. Yeah. Well, it was all working against me, with the ADHD, the dyslexia, the awe, the MTV, the flashing images, the Bob Dylan, he doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about. I mean, it was just too much. It was just, all right, goodbye, and he left. So, but about a year later, Robbie Robertson called me and said, hey, Dylan told me to call you. We want you to write a screenplay. And I go, uh-oh. But I said, yeah, that didn't work out either, but I made a ton of money. Well, no, Bob wanted to do it. I mean, I finally understood what they were talking about. No, Robbie and the band wanted to do the music soundtrack to the movie I wrote. And Dylan was going to write the words to the songs for the soundtrack. And they wanted to write a movie about carnival life, but which I didn't know much about. And I didn't know anything about writing a screenplay. Again, the naivete, I didn't even do any research. I mean, it was kind of stupid of me, but I said yes. So what I did was I wrote a 13 stanza ballad of Reading Jail. What's his name? Your poet, English poet. They put him in jail in the 1800s. He was a homosexual, and that didn't. That guy.
Yeah, Stephen Fry played him in a film.
He was very famous. I mean, everybody knows.
I know what you mean, but I can't think of.
Yeah, right. But him. So Ballad of Reading Jail. That's what So I just took those stanzas, and I just wrote a song about carnival life and cowboy life, and I don't know. It rhymed, and Dylan thought it was really cool. He wanted to get it published, but the whole thing fell through. But I made many, many thousands of dollars while I was doing it, so it was kind of cool. But then I went back to San Francisco and got back into the committee and pretended nothing happened. I was just gone for 3 months. No, a month. I was gone for a month. Where were you? Well, I was in Bearsville writing. That was all I was saying. I went away to write a movie, and then just left it at that. But then LA started to come up and hire everybody, and so they would go down and not come back because the money was so good down there. So we lost the company. I mean, we got people from San Francisco, but they weren't, actors who were from New York or LA. They weren't practiced enough. They didn't have enough chops to really cut
the improv as you had got.
And nobody from LA would fly up to be in there because they would lose money if they went the other way.
Yeah.
So nobody would come up who we really wanted to come up. what? Turn down $10,000 a week for, $200 a week? No, I don't think so. So, it sounded right. So I went back down there. I thought, well, no, wait a minute. I'll go down there. That sounds like a good deal. So that's what I did. And so that was like the 70s, the 80s, and that's when you started watching,
Yeah, and I mean, you're in a few films that I watch quite often. Just a couple of days ago, I watched Fatal Beauty, where you've got a small role as the drugs guy
And
in
what was that? What was the name of the movie?
Fatal Beauty with Whoopi Goldberg and Sam Elliott.
That. Yeah, I didn't get along with Whoopi. Yeah, we see again. I misunderstood everything she said. To me. And so I thought she was angry at me or something. No, she was just, talking show business stuff. And I had no
Yeah,
idea. I was up in San Francisco, So she started to just, so whenever she saw me coming, she would just turn the other way. And that's happened a lot in LA. I mean, even, me work, even if I did well, but like Friends, I talking about Friends.
yeah.
No, I didn't get along with anybody there. I just,
No,
I, no,
I did.
I did.
I did hear while I was doing a bit of research, obviously, um, when you went running in and had to go at the producers for killing you off.
Oh, and I said, "What the fuck did you do?" Yeah,
Yeah.
that. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I said that to the producers. I mean, Mr. Naive, I just got angry because they killed my character because Chandler needed a place to move into. Because in the writing of the week before, the four had kicked Chandler out. And it was a funny show, kicking Chandler out. Okay. But they didn't realize that, well, how do we get him back in the show? Because it was the time frame was a continuous thing. It wasn't a different show each week. It was, it followed in sequence. And last week they kicked Chandler out. Now we got to tune in to see how he gets back in. So in between that week, I auditioned. No, I was Mr. Heckles. And in that week, they decided we got to get Chandler in. Let's move him into Mr. Heckles' apartment, which was right across the hall. And so Chandler can move in there. So then the continuation is he just comes in every day to visit.
Yeah.
But it was very close. He wasn't in another apartment, across town. So I was killed because of that. Now, in television production terms, that's a very normal fix for a writer screw up. They just, okay, we'll get rid of that. We'll move it in here. Okay, I understood. It wasn't me personally, but he was written as a recurring character. I mean, I was supposed to be there every other week or something like that. So I had already in my head bought a house with the money that I saw coming.
That's it.
In my head, I thinking, okay, I got a house, I get a driveway, I'll get a gate, it'll be cool. And then I come in and I got in the sides of that week, Mr. Heckle dies. This is the last show. In other words, this is the last show. You're not coming back. We kill you in the next show. So I done four. The fifth show, I died.
I mean, the episode where Mr. Heckles dies is a very, very poignant episode. You know what I mean?
I don't know because I don't. All I remember is I die in that episode, and there's a scene where they're carrying the body out, and that just incensed me. Thank God there was nobody to punch. I would have been killed. But that's how I acted on the set. I mean, that I misunderstood and would get angry for no reason because I thought they were dissing me when it was just a misunderstanding. A lot of actors, by the way, in Hollywood are dyslexic. It's just that I wouldn't put the time in to learn the show and the words. So I would just get very angry when I would not memorize things. And because it took me a long time to memorize words, much longer than ordinary. So there was a standing rule that Larry gets his screenplay or his words, his sides, his part. Larry gets his part first. He gets his part with the producers. As early as they can get a TV pilot script out, get it to Larry because he needs that. So everybody understood it. It was totally cool. A lot of actors have, all kinds of weirdnesses that they have to, accommodate.
Yeah.
So they would send it to me. So it's fine. So 99% of the shows, I always got it in time, and so I'd work on it. But as I got more famous, I would get bigger roles. And the roles started to be too big for me to memorize in time. So I started to turn them down. When I saw that, man, they have to send it to me like a month in advance, and they're only sending it to me a week in advance. And that's just wasn't. Now, I learned, because I started to meet other actors who had dyslexia, and they were famous. I think Brad Pitt has a dyslexia, and a lot of other famous, but they just put the work in. I mean, they want to be actors, not that they want the money. They want to be actors. They have the fire in the belly. And I didn't. Remember, I had a big bar fight when I graduated. I had no idea that I was going to be an actor. I wasn't born or grew up thinking acting. I was thinking, hey, I just want to hang out. That's what I grew up thinking. I just want to do nothing and hang out. So I had to finally drop out.
Speaking to you now, you can see you're just a very nicely chilled kind of guy. And I can, just whatever comes, yeah. And I can imagine that's your kind of persona just from talking to you briefly over the last, bits and bobs over the last week and before there. I can see you're a very chilled out kind of guy.
I mean, I had, yes. But that only happened when I stopped working as an actor. Suddenly the anger just went away. So it was not, it was my anger at having to audition and memorize lines and being and misinterpreting other people on the set. And that's what the book is about. If you know, that guy, if you know now that Larry Hankin was and still is, but now I've adjusted to it. I have workarounds. You work, you play the cards you're dealt.
Costume.
So, but I learned that late in life. I learned that after I quit. I said, I'm not as angry as I was. I got to work on my anger even more. I've got to find something else to do. Now, luckily, I was getting residuals from the work that I had done. But I also realized that it was the dyslexia and the acting. And once I let go of the fear and the angst of, I got to memorize this. Oh, my God. Once I got rid of that, the anger just went away, and then I worked on it. You got to work on it. You got to put in the hours,
But I mean, you've been in, for my generation, you've been in so many iconic films and TV shows.
The interesting thing about being famous for people your age, because like you're in your 40s, late 40s, whatever, I don't know, and I'm older. Your age group, they watched when they were 15, you watched when you were 15. And now these fathers, these 50-year-old, 40-year-old fathers come up to me with their sons and they say, hey, I loved your, whatever you did in the 70s or whatever. And they have their children with them. And I go, am I that old? Because you don't realize it until you see, a contemporary with children. I never got married, so I don't think like fathers. Oh, I'm getting older. I got to pass some stuff on. I got to send them to college. I got to do this. I got to change. I had some girlfriends who had children, so I know how to change diapers and stuff. But I never went with a girl who had children older than 5. Oh, no.
Right.
No, I did. I finally graduated. I finally dated a woman, lived with her for 2 years. And she had children who were 15 and 17.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. And the great thing is that they're already formed. In other words, whatever their father put into them, they already got it. They're adults now. So I
Yeah.
didn't have to do much. I didn't have to change diapers. And I treated them like adults, and they treated me like an equal. They didn't treat me like a dad because I didn't act like a dad.
That's it.
I was, your mom is my girlfriend. That's all they knew. But I was just another guy in the house, So I was like 17, 15. It was great. We worked it out. We were friends. Everybody got along. But that was because I didn't treat them like a father. I didn't give them orders. I didn't tell them to do anything. I didn't tell them anything. So that was cool. They asked me questions. I asked them questions, and I gave them straight answers. I didn't have to lie to them, because of the blood relationship or whatever. And I didn't know how they were raised, and I didn't care.
No.
We start from zero. Here we go. So it was really cool. I mean, it's from 5 to 15 that I think I would have been a bad dad. I think I would have had a bad temper. I think so. That's why I never married.
Right.
Because I dated people who, eventually wanted to go into marriage and children. And I didn't want to wish on my kids what my father put me through. And I didn't know if I could handle the right way to do it,
I know exactly what you mean, because I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and I treat her completely different to how my father was with me.
Good for you, man. And I don't know if I could have done it, but that's exactly right.
She gets told I love her and I'm proud of her every single day.
There you go. I didn't know anything about passing on love or giving. Giving. There's the word. I really had to learn about, because there was not in that. I came from a dysfunctional family. So there was no giving. It was all orders and obedience. The worst. The worst.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that to your children. Don't give them orders and don't force obedience on them. It doesn't work.
Work. Does not work at all.
Work. It'll bounce back and it will bite you in the ass.
Makes you not like your parents in the future.
Oh, well, that's exactly it. So when I graduated, I just kept going. I wanted to run away since I was like 15. I just didn't have the chutzpah or the money or the chutzpah, the fire in the belly. So I went to college, but then that's where, after that fight, I could do anything, okay. Okay, I can handle it now. All right. My sister, I love my sister, and we've learned to come together, and it's really cool now. She lives in Florida. I live in California. So we worked that out together, and that's great. So I have family. But it took a while. So now I'll be cool.
I've got to ask you about a film that was released in 1974 called Lucifer's Women.
Lucifer's Women. Yeah. A porno movie. Yeah. Okay. Here's a skinny on that, because see, now you're misinterpreting. Everybody who just heard what we just said, that's not what happened.
No.
So I'm going to give you that's how you have filthy minds. Okay. So, oh, not at all. No, but some of my best friends watch pornos all the time. It teaches you about sex if you want to go that way. You get nice moves and stuff, nice positions. Okay, so here's what the skinny of that. I did 4 porny movies. Well, it was in San Francisco in the 60s. San Francisco was the pornographic capital of the world, pretty much, but at least the United States. So all the pornographic actors, producers, directors, lighting guys, whatever. I mean, they lived in San Francisco, and they were like anybody else, and they came to see the committee. It's something to do. You go to the theater, you go to the movies, you go to the committee. So they would see the pornographic directors and the pornographic actresses and actors would come to see the show and laugh and be like anybody else. Hey, that's really great, funny. But they wanted us, just not me, but all the other funny people in the show, the other six, there were 6 people. They wanted us in the movie as a comedy relief. There's not to be pornographic actors, but to be funny people in the movie. So if you don't like pornography, there's something else. There's funny. Okay. So you could bring your wife.
Because at the time, pornography was very legitimate because of films like with Madeline, was it Behind the Green Door?
Deep Throat, and Marilyn, whatever her name was. And yes. Okay. So that was the days. Okay. So we're on the same plane. Okay. So what we did and what I was hired to do when they came and say, hey, would you be in a porny movie? I always said yes, because I knew I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to take my clothes off. So I was always, gave me a funny character role. But here's the reality of the situation. Nobody goes to a porny movie to laugh.
No, they don't.
No.
That's what it's all about.
When the comedy starts coming on, people in raincoats start going, what the fuck is this? What, they go, what's this? Well, when are they going to take their clothes off? Is this guy going to take his clothes off or not? What? I don't get it. Okay, so that we learned that really quick. So we just stopped doing it not because we were embarrassed or anything, because it didn't work. I mean, nobody got it. Okay, so here's when my last one, and this is the one, the video of this, and that's the one you're talking about. Well, what was the name again? I forgot.
It's Women. You played Svengali.
Oh, Lucifer's Women. No, that was, I played Svengali. Okay, so I played Svengali. I didn't take my clothes off, but that was a soft core movie. Now, maybe what you're talking about is a soft core movie, but it didn't make its money back. It broke even because it was soft core, and there's certain rules. You can't see insertion is the major thing about porno. You go to see the insertion. So they didn't show that, and you couldn't. It was against the law. So because of that, it didn't make its money back. So what the producers did was they sold the rights to other pornographic movie makers who made real pornographic movies, with the proviso in the contract that they could do anything they want with the footage. So they got the outtakes and the film, and it was theirs now. So what the new pornographic guys did, especially with the softcore, but they did it with all our movies. They just edited out the comedy stuff. Is basically what they did. But in Svengali, they edited in the hardcore stuff. So I don't know which version you saw.
I've got the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, which I've not watched yet because it came out just before I went in hospital with the paralysis thing.
Oh.
So it was sitting with a pile of Blu-rays. So it's still sitting with a pile of Blu-rays to watch.
Oh, I see.
But I've also got it as Dr. Dracula.
Dr. Dracula has the porno in it because they changed the name. I think maybe the only rule was that they couldn't change the name. If they changed, or if they didn't change the name, they would have to use it as released.
Yeah.
All they had to do, if they wanted to add pornography into it, they had to change the name so it never got mixed up. So if the name is not
Lucifer's Women,
well, whatever, then it's a pornographic. So the next one after that was the one I quit. I don't remember the name of it, and I wish I did.
That one.
Because that's the one that made me drop out, because what it was oh yes, I finally got to see it. What they did was, how did that work? Oh, right. The entire movie, because it was a very cheap pornographic movie, so they only did it in one room in somebody's house. the living room. In other words, they rented somebody's one level house, just a flat, one level house, and they rented out the house for 3 days. So the real owners just went to a hotel for 3 days, and they couldn't touch anything. I mean, they couldn't move anything. They just have to use what's there.
Yeah.
So they shot the whole pornographic movie in the living room. So my role was, I mean, just telling this makes me laugh. My role was, I was a reporter for the LA Times or whatever, I don't know, the San Francisco Chronicle. I was a reporter, and I was doing an article on the San Francisco pornographic movie scene.
Right.
It was just an article. And so they wanted me to come in as a reporter, fully dressed, with a notepad and a pencil, and come in and interview the pornographic actors for my article, which I thought was cool. I mean, you're just interviews. That's all it is. And they would record that, and that would go in the movie. I said, okay, fine. So I show up at the address. It was out in the valley in San Francisco. I see all the cars parked around, and the video truck and whatever, or the movie truck, whatever. And I go in the house. I walk in, and you walk in, and generally you walk into the living room, which is what this house was. So they say, oh, come on in. So I open it up, and they go, shh, we're shooting. And I go, oh, fine. So I open the door, and I come in, and in the living room, the pornographic actor movies in the movie was a wife swap pornographic. Right. That was the theme of it, wife swapping. That was the article I was going to write, wife swapping. So I walk into the living room, and there's a couch, there's a chair, there's a dining room table, and there's a rug on the floor. And then you can see then the kitchen is off of it, but you can see it. And in every one of those spots I just mentioned, rug, couch, floor, blah, 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 chair, whatever, there's a couple fucking. Just totally whacking away, just working it. And I go, and they go, so they go, cut, okay. All right, here's Larry, he's the interviewer. All right, okay, we're gonna continue from, page 4. Okay, so Larry, okay. And I'm going, what am I gonna wait for them to get dressed? No, we want you to interview them while they're fucking. What? Yeah, just walk from, just walk around, and we'll follow you with a camera, and we have cameras on them. So there's 3 cameras, one on you, the other 2 are. I go, holy cow. So I'm in a, sports jacket and nice pants and a shirt and a tie. I got my pad and my pencil, and they go, okay, and action. And they all start again, and they're all over. And I'm just stepping over bodies, and I go to this one couple, and I say, I'd like to interview you. I'm from the LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle. And he's looking up, and he goes, yeah, what do you want? And he's going, oh, and I'm going, yeah, well, is this your wife? No, my wife is over there. That's her over there. So who are you with? And I go, oh, that's my boyfriend. He's over there. And they go, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll go to them next. And I go, so thank you, and I did that. And I go, boom, boom, boom. And when I hit the 5 couples in the living room, they cut. Okay, Larry, thank you very much. That was really great. Thank you. Okay, I'm released. Yeah, goodbye. Okay. And I left, and I go, what did I just do, man? And I thought, and I never saw the movie. I to this day. Now I get calls like from people like you, or say, hey, do you remember China Woman? Oh yeah, it's a pornographic movie. I was the character of Funny Relief. So yeah, well, I just saw it, So, congratulations. No, I wasn't a pornographic actor. I never took my clothes off in any of them. One was the mattresses, I don't know, where it was an Italian mafia pornographic movie. What?
China Desade. That was the film you're talking about. China Desade?
China Desade. No, that was another movie.
Oh, right, okay.
That was a third movie. So there was a lot of them. And maybe that was it. I don't know. I lost track of the titles, but fans call me every once in a while, or they'll Facebook me and they say, hey, were you ever in China Desade? And I go, yeah, why? I just saw it, man. you know, I said, that's funny. You're like a star in, you know, Breaking Bad. You made porno movie. Well, I never took my clothes off. Oh, okay, fine. I just saw your name on the credits. Okay, fine. So I get these calls from from 1970. I get these calls
Brilliant.
from well, not from older people, from kids who now they're still out there.
Yeah,
And they
well, I
go,
mean, I'm a big cult movie fan, and I still, I still watch films from the 70s and the 80s and
well,
60s.
they're still out there, and you're going to see me, you know,
Well,
and my other committee members, you know, fully dressed. We never did any porno. We never did. But that one, the one where I interview people screwing as I'm interviewing, and I'm in a, you know, sports jacket and a suit thing. That one I've never seen, and I want to see it. But B, I want my scene to be inset on my tombstone. So when you come visit,
it's just your scene for
that's
that
what you
one.
see. Oh, this is Larry Hankin. What the hell is he?
If you let me know the name of it, I'll try and track it down for you.
Okay, I have no idea. I'm sure that they've all gone their separate ways. It'll be very hard for me. What you have to do, Paul, is you have to rent all pornographic movies from the 70s and watch all of them until you find the one I'm in. Okay? And then call me.
Yeah, no problem. If anybody's listening, Larry says,
Yeah. That
all,
pornographic movie, I want to know the name of it and then just steal my scene and send it to me. I want to put it on my gravestone. I gotta do that. Okay. Moving on. But yeah, that's the story behind that.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that kind of story, and it's brilliant because that's the kind of thing that
that's what interviewers waiting to get. You know,
so that's it. That's the meat of an interview.
No, that's not in the book. I'm surprised because I have no, I don't care if people know about it. I don't care, but I just didn't remember it, or it wasn't, or maybe I didn't. It wasn't as interesting in my memory as me telling it. Sometimes I need an audience. I mean, that's a stand-up comedian's thing.
Okay.
It's when you get up on stage, suddenly, if you have the chops, suddenly you become funnier than just rehearsing it in the green room. It doesn't seem funny to you at all. So, but no, I have no qualms about it at all. I'm proud of that. That's one of the things in my history, in my life story, that just blows my mind. That scene. I mean, because it's not Breaking Bad, it's not Friends, it's that. Okay, so there you go.
Breaking Bad and Friends will be probably what most people kind of want to speak to you about.
Yeah,
I've never seen Breaking Bad.
You never have. That's really good. I mean, I was a big fan of that show, so to get the part, that was That's like working for Dylan or something. That was awesome.
What's been a part that you've got, and you've just, like you're just saying about Breaking Bad, where it was just like, oh man, this is brilliant. I'm loving this. This is, what's been that kind of part for you?
Well, no, I mean, it's a crapshoot. You just go to the audition your agent set up for you. I have nothing to do with those things, or had nothing to do with those things. In other words, you get a call and say, hey, I got an audition for you on Tuesday. It's Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, man. I'm a big fan of that. See the phone. No, it's this. That shows my age.
I still remember
some child of 15. What is this? Hey, Daddy, what does this mean? He's scratching his ear. Son.
I'm on the phone.
Yeah. So that you just get the call, Breaking Bad. Oh, I'm a fan. Well, just go there and audition, So you audition and you get the job, and you're full of awe, but that's just and you don't know when you do it, like in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, all of those, you just did it. I had no idea, and nobody did. The actors, the directors, they had no idea that it was going to be famous. That comes years later when all of a sudden it goes into reruns and reruns. That's in the 2000s that happened. So after 2010, see, my career went like this, from college through all the things, to LA, to San Francisco, to LA, and then movies and TV. So it goes like that. And then you reach a point like in the 1990s where you reach a point, and then on IMDb, I follow this, your popularity, my popularity.
Yeah.
And then it starts to slowly go down through the 90s. You see, I'm losing. I go, oh man, what am I going to do when I'm an old man? Because I don't know how to do anything else. And I'm too old for anybody to hire me because I gave it all to show business. So it starts to go down and down. And then suddenly around 2005, it just stopped and it started going like this. And I'm going, well, that's kind of cool. And that's when DVDs started to come out and recording the thing. And then all of a sudden it started to climb again. And then about 2017, when the COVID and everybody was locked into their homes just watching TV, I started to even surpass my original, and I'm already quitting and getting out. And it's way the hell up now, right now. I swear to God, and I have nothing to do with it for the last I've been out of the business for the last 5 years. I am more popular right now than I ever was in the history of show business, of my show business. I'm more and I'm not doing anything, but it's just the accumulation. Now, some podcasters told me that the compilation of my work is 202 TV and movie shows.
That's fantastic. That's a lot. That's a lot of
That's an effing lot. It really is. I think I'm one of the highest in show business. If I'm not the highest, I'm up there in the top 10. That I do know. But they told me 210. Well, that means that to me, is I get a lot of small amounts, but 200 times $25,
it's
a lot of bucks.
Yeah.
And if you get that every month, 200 times that every month, that's like a lot of money. And then you get, I'm an old guy, so I get Social Security every month. And then I'm on Cameo, which is the fan base. You know Cameo at all in England? I'm on Cameo. So I get a couple of $100 every month, come rain or shine, fans calling up, happy birthday, happy birthday. So, I mean, I am doing nothing but sitting here and writing, trying to write another book so I can get more money. And I'm not doing anything. And my bank account is very slowly. I mean, because I was never a star. I mean, you can imagine what the 5 guys on Friends are getting every week.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Right? It's millions. They're getting millions. So I don't get that. I get maybe every week, I get maybe $100. Well, I was only on 4 shows, so I don't get it every week. But, the 4 shows that I do, I get $100 each one. But that's four of the 200. So those 200, if I get like 300, maybe, I don't know, $250 times 202. I mean, that's a lot. That's like over a year. I'm surprised when my tax person comes and says, you know what you earned this last year? I go, no, I have no idea. I didn't work last year. So I don't know, a couple of $100. No, it's thousands. You're paying a lot of taxes, man. For what? For residuals. You got to pay taxes on that. Oh, I do? Yeah. So, and you also owe money, But thank God. Whether I had dyslexia or I couldn't remember the lines or I worked hard to remember them, whatever, I got through it. And it was a surprise to me when my tax guy, my accountant, called me and I said, hey, you got a check for blah, blah, blah for Friends. And Friends had been off the air for about 2 years. I did. It's off the air. Well, yeah, but now it's gone into, recycling or streaming or whatever. He said, yeah, they just sold it and it's gone worldwide. So not only do I get it once a month from America, but I also get it once a month from India. No, it's not the same. Probably from India, I get like $5.
On 2 channels in England. There's 2 channels in England. Show Friends. and show it on a loop.
Well, that goes, like now I don't get 200 each time. But
No,
even if I get $5 each time, man, it's on a loop. And
that's
you,
it.
again, 200 times that, because I have 200 shows and they're all on loops all over the world.
Yeah.
So if I'm getting thousands of dollars a year, you can imagine what the stars of those shows are getting.
Well,
And
it's well deserved, and you deserve it because you've knocked your pan in, you've done the work.
well, yeah, I worked hard for it, but I didn't expect it. I wasn't doing it because I was thinking residuals.
No,
I
no.
did it because I wanted to do it. It was money then. I needed it. I paid my rent.
I mean,
my house is on fire. The apartment's on fire. You hear that? The fire engine just.
Fire engine's going.
No, but I want to stay on this. So the hell with the building on fire. We're talking, man.
We're talking. That's it. I've got to ask you. I mean, when I was doing a bit of research, there was a few things where you were nearly the star, like Seinfeld. You were nearly Kramer, and then you did come back as the fake Kramer, Tom Pepper. And then there was also Home Alone, where you were nearly Daniel Stern's role.
Yes, yeah, Daniel Stern, right? Yeah. Well, that was that was a screw up on their part that I earned money from, but it was a screw up on the producer's side. I had nothing to do with any of that. I had nothing to do with the shooting of it, of the writing of the lines. I had nothing to do with the donut. I had nothing to do with the crumb on the phone, which made me famous. That crumb and the director's insistence on keeping that shot. I wanted to destroy that shot. What you saw, I wanted to destroy. And the director refused. He said, no. Well, I said, why not? It's a fuck up. A crumb from the donut that I was eating while talking fell, but it was a big crumb.
Yeah.
The one you could see.
Yeah.
And it fell but it didn't fall on. Do you remember this? It didn't fall here. It fell here. It fell
kind of just on the edge
on
of
the side. It fell on the side and it stuck there and I didn't know it. And I kept on talking, and it very slowly, and that's what all the kids come up to me. The kids are that, because it's Christmas, everybody watches it. And the kids who watch it always come up to me and say, how did you do that donut thing, man? I go, what? The crumb. How did you do the crumb? Was it CGI? Was it on a wire? I go, no, I just didn't even know it was there. I did find out why it only went very slowly, because it just went like that. And it started to very slowly roll down, which was hypnotic. I mean, I watched the scene and all of a sudden all you're watching is the crumb. Is it going to drop? Is it going to drop? Is it going to drop? And then finally it drops, and what a relief. I mean, it's a great psychological test. But anyway, the thing was that, they called me to do Daniel Stern's role because I was second in line to do that role. But because Daniel Stern wanted more money. He wanted the same money that Joe Pesci was getting, but they wouldn't do it. So he was going to quit. So they called me. They called my agent. And they said, well, Daniel Stern's going to quit over money, but if he keeps insisting, we're going to fire him. And if we fire him, we're going with Larry, and Larry's going to be it. But then Daniel Stern didn't quit. So about 2 hours later, after, hey, pack your bags, Daniel Stern, they quit. You have to leave tonight. I had to leave that night from the phone call. For tomorrow, they're going to just start tomorrow. They're firing him right after we hang up, and you're coming in tomorrow. So I had to pack, and then they called about 2 hours later and said, Daniel Stern caved, forget it. And I go, hey, man, what are they? Now they're screwing around with me. Why did they do that? Because, again, I started to buy a house, because of the money I would get to be Daniel Stern's part, do his part. And they pulled the rug out from under me. So about 2 weeks later, they called and said, this is in the book. 2 weeks later, they called and they said, Larry has to be, not we want him to be. Larry has to be in Home Alone somewhere. We don't care where. He's got to be in the film. And my agent said, why? And they said, because you know how we treated him. We didn't think we treated him badly, but now we find out that it really was screwing him around because we had to have his permission to threaten Daniel Stern with his name. You can't just do that. Say, we're hiring Larry Hankin. You have to get permission to say that. So, have to, Larry, can we use your name in the negotiation? Yeah. So we didn't do that. We didn't know about it. So the movie is cursed. And that was real. That was a real thing that the producers thought. Because I asked the producers, I said, do you think that this movie is cursed and that's why I'm here? Yes. I go, oh, and I said, well, how did that work? How did you come to that conclusion that it was cursed? He said, because we were shooting for 3 days. That's why they called you after, 2 weeks or something. There was a long time in between. And we were trying to make it work and make it work. And he says, nothing was happening. And so we called you because, oh, right. And we only had one part available. And if you would turn it down, then we'd have to go with a cursed movie. So they said, so I said, what's the part? Okay, I'll do it, because I figured I'd get a lot of money. Okay. And I knew it would be a hit. So they said, well, it's only 3 lines. It's a cop on the phone, saying he doesn't want to go check on the kid at the house. It's just one scene. It's small. It's easy. And the producer was telling me, it's just a half a day. It's a half a day. It's a small. We just want you in the movie just to get the curse off. I'm going, no. And so I hung up and I told my agent, no. And he goes, Larry, it's just 3 lines. It's a half a day. I go, no, 3 lines. It's below me. By this time, it was below me. See, I'm like acting out. That's like bullshit. It's too small. Okay. So he goes, yeah, but they'll fly you there first class. He said, I don't care. 3 lines. I'm not doing 3 lines. Larry, they'll fly you there first class. They'll pick you up in a limousine on both ends, going and coming. They'll have it set up for you. You just go in, say your 3 lines. You're out of there. 1 take. They'll pay you $10,000 for that. Oh, okay, fine. Let's do it. Great. Hey, I'm there. Yeah. That's what happened. They sent the limo. I flew first class there and back, and they had it set up. I went in. The only difference is, and they asked me, they said, well, now that you're doing it, okay, we have one last question. What do you want? Now, they asked that question to stars, not to people like me. I don't care what you think. They don't ask that to me. But so I said, why are you asking that? Well, because we think you deserve to be asked that. So I said, okay, but you can have anything you want, whatever you want. So I said, I want a donut. A donut? Well, I want a car. I want, some sex act. I want, something big and huge. I said, no, I want 1 donut. And then I corrected myself. I said, no, wait a minute. I want a glazed donut. I want 1 glazed donut. He said, that's it? I said, that's it. He said, okay. And then he hung up and I flew the next day. So I got there and they're waiting at the curbside. They whisk me in. There's the set. And they say, okay, quick, get in your cop uniform, change your clothes, get in there. We'll shoot you 1 take and you're back there. The limo is not leaving. He's going to wait for you. So we'll go right back to the airport. We've got you booked on a first class. So change, shoot, boom, back in the limo. You're out of here. I go, wait a minute. Where's my donut? So I thought it was a joke, but I acted like I'm on my high horse. Where's my donut? He said, Larry, let's not think about that. Just get in there, change your clothes, get on the set. It'll be here. The donut will be here. So I changed my clothes and I'm looking forward to my donut, like my little request. They come back and there's, these baker's tray that roll around, and they have all these levels. They're rolling baker's trays. I don't know if have them in England.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah, they roll around. They have bread on them and they stack them up. Okay. There was a rolling baker's tray next to the camera, and on it were 20 trays. And on each tray was 30 glazed donuts. That's 600 glazed donuts are standing next to the camera on a baker's tray. And I said, And I was like blown away. I thought maybe there's a total misunderstanding here. I said, I only asked for one glazed donut. You know, I mean, I was serious. This was not a joke anymore. I think, oh, this is going to go bad. This is starting out bad, is what I thought. And he goes, no, no. One of the producers said, no, no, Larry, what if we have to do 2 takes? We're covered. You know, ha, 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 ha. Very funny. So I said, okay, let's just do this. And I want to go home. I just didn't like the vibes. I can be stupid, but I don't want producers to be stupid, you know. So I said, I'm getting out of here. Okay. So they shot it. And here, this is the truth. And it's in the book. They shot it 10 times. We had to do 10 takes. And 9 takes, we never got through the entire scene because of some technical, not an actor thing, some technical thing. The camera went off the dolly. The jiggle. The lights up above, because it was on a sound stage. The lights above got so hot. It was really hot in there. The lights exploded and showered down shattered glass all over me, all over the set, all over everything. We had to shut down for 10 minutes while a crew came in and cleaned up the glass. I had to guarantee I wasn't going to sue them. Fine. Okay, let's go on. Okay, on the 10th take, they get all the way through, cut, and everybody, you know, got relief. We finally got it. Okay, Larry, let's get you out of here. And I said, no, I'm not going. I want to see. Why did everybody laugh once the director yelled cut? Because that's what happened. On the 10th take, nobody laughed at any other time. On the 10th take, the director yelled cut. That's a take. And then everybody laughed because they, you know, hold it in until they yell cut. You don't want to spoil the take. And everybody laughed. And I wanted to know why they laughed. So I said, no, that's a tip off that the actors fuck up. In other words, in LA, well, in all movies, technical difficulties are serious. You don't laugh at that. That's time and money. But if an actor fucks up, everybody laughs because you just do it again. Ha, ha, ha. Brad Pitt, you know, ha, ha, ha. And they laughed. And I was the only actor in the scene. So I said, they laughed at me, didn't they? And they said, no, but it's fine. We got what we wanted. So you're going home now. You know, the limo is waiting, change. I said, I'm not changing. I want to do it again because if they laughed, I don't want that to go out. That's a screw up on my part. I don't want to go out. He said, no, Larry, it's a good take. Go home. And I said, no, I'm not going to leave. I want to do it again. And they said, Larry, it's a funny shot. It's funny. The others weren't funny. This is funny. And I go, I don't, yeah, but because of me, I don't want them laughing. I got into a big argument and everybody just standing around as we're arguing. We're arguing. No, put it in. No, don't. So one of the producers said, just show him the shot. Just show him the shot. So they take me over to TV Village. They show me. And I'm watching, and it's just an ordinary scene, blah, 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 blah. And then about halfway through the scene, all of a sudden I see this big thing go, bonk. And then all I'm doing is watching this thing go, and I said, what is that? And everybody is standing around, and they start to laugh again. The crew is watching this. And I go, well, hey, look at that. Look at that. That's a crumb on the phone. He goes, yeah, Larry, that's funny. I said, no, it's not. I want to do it again. He said, Larry, that's a money shot. And I go, what's your definition of a money shot? And he goes, a money shot is when it's all right, plus it's funny. And that shot is all right, plus it's funny. So get out of here. And I say, you sure it's funny? Because now I'm beginning to see, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a money shot. So I said, okay. And I just had my fingers crossed and I left. I mean, because they were just get in the limo, you know, because they had a plane.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a first class, you know, they had to get me back. So they said, come on, you're going to miss the plane. You're going to miss the plane. So I left and I slept in my own bed that night, which was a guarantee. And I got $10,000. And when I watched the movie, it is funny. And all these kids go, how did you do that? I mean, it's a popular shot. Other than that, it's not a really noticeable scene. It's just 3 lines, which is why. But now it's a memorable scene. I mean, I'm famous for that scene. And I had nothing to do with it. You know, I didn't even know it was happening, which was the other reason it's funny, because you can see I don't know that there's a crumb on the phone. I'm just doing my lines. Uh, yeah. So, I mean, that's my life, and that keeps happening. And that's why I think I had a pretty cool life. I really do. In retrospect.
Do you know, so Larry, this conversation we've had for the last about hour and a half, well, it's been longer than that
Wow.
because of technical issues. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's just, do you know something? It's kind of like speaking to a wise old teacher who's just relaying these great, fantastically funny stories. And
I just say what's on my mind because you asked me these questions and I try to explain it to you. That's what I'm doing.
it's you know something absolutely fantastic. I'd love to, because I mean we've been talking on and off now for about 2.5 hours since 6:30, 3 hours nearly. Sorry, since 6:30. And I would love to talk to you again, make a part two of this.
Sure. Sure. You know what? Yeah. I mean, if you think it's good, and I believe you, I mean, and it's clear on my screen here. It's very clear. Me. You're clear too. But what you could do if you want to do it, and I'll split the money or whatever you want to do with the money. But make this is you could get an hour of just funny stuff of me. If you say it's funny, it's fine. Of me, and release it as an album, on HBO or release it yourself. Larry Hankin on Zoom. That's an album right there. And it's just, you edit it for your show, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But for the album, edit just the funny stuff of what you think is me funny, and I'll split the money with you, man. It's an album.
This will be going out.
I've seen worse that made more money.
This will be going out as an audio, and I'll be popping it onto YouTube as well. But there'll be no cuts, no edits. Just
great. Put it on YouTube. Yeah, but even if you put it on YouTube, I don't care, because if you just edit this, or anybody, give it to me and I'll edit it, and I'll still split it with you. You're the one who's making this. I'll edit it and I'll send it out as an album on my website or on YouTube or whatever, but I'll sell it. And I'll sell it really cheap so that we can sell a lot of them. I'm talking about if we may sell it for an hour, $5, $3. But again, times 10,000. And that's a lot of money for each of us, but sell it cheap.
I do want to talk to you again and chat more, because
let's do it. It's up to you.
I'm not even halfway through my questions, but it's getting late here and my daughter will be wanting to go to bed.
No, I gotta finish what I was doing before you call.
So if we can,
that's up to you. That's separate. I'll do anything you want because this is good. You're cool.
Great conversation. You've been more than accommodating. You've been so funny and told us so many stories, which, fantastic, especially the porno stuff was just hilarious.
Oh, well, no, I've never told those stories ever. So that's original to you. I've never told those stories. Nobody ever asked me about them. So that's just a separate thing. I mean, you don't have to make it a separate thing. I'm just saying,
I would love to sit down with you where we've got a little bit more time and go through everything. Then we can maybe think what you would say and put it out as something as the interview.
Fine. But we can't discuss it unless we talk about. In other words, what I'm saying is, I will do anything you want to do because I like talking to you. Okay, so let's forget that now. Okay, next thing is, but what you've done so far, just here with me in these couple of hours, that you can edit any way you want, put it out in England or wherever you want to do whatever you want with it, it's yours. But I'm saying that also, plus all of that, you've got an album here. If you just cut my thing here, I mean, maybe you can ask, your questions, you can be on it. But I'm telling you, just from your reaction of what you said about our talk, that is an album that we can make money off of. And if you just cut my funny stories and sell it, I'll split the money with you. And that has nothing to do with anything else that you want to do. I'll do it.
Me and you need to sit down properly after we finish this recording another night. Have a good crack. I think we'll come up with something because
Cool.
your stories need to be out there because I've sat here
Yes.
so much and I can't thank you enough. You're an absolute legend of a man. You're so damn
Oh, thank
funny.
you very much. Thank you.
I
I just
mean,
like talking. I'm a performer.
same here, same here. But as I say, we've been chatting for about an hour and a half on recording it, and
Right.
then chattering for hours before that. But as I say, it is getting late here, so I am going to have to call it here. But next time we'll get earlier, and I just want to record you telling your stories with no interaction from me. Just
Oh,
maybe
no,
the
no,
odd.
I need the interaction.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you tell, because I think I see you laughing, and that spurs me on to like keep the roll going.
Well, we'll call this knock this on. We'll call this a day here now. I'm going to speak to you. We're going to sort something out, and I would love to do your life story.
I've always wanted to do that, and it's here. I mean, we've got the material, and also I just spoke to a movie director who wants to make a movie out of this book. Now, it's the movie that we talked about. The movie that we talked about is not exactly because you can't film this book. It's a book. You would have to adapt this to television, but you release whatever we talk about at the same time the movie comes out, and the book and the movie. It's publicity, man. And this is one of the best podcasts I've done, and I've done millions of them.
Thank you very much.
We're cool. So I tell you what, you can either call me again, and you set it up. I'm going to leave this to you. You call me and set it up, pick a date. Now I'm going to be down because I got to go to the hospital I got to recuperate. So anytime after November 5th, I'm gone in the hospital.
Not a problem.
Until November 5th. After November 5th, call me and we'll talk and we'll get this sorted out.
Definitely.
And we'll do what we agree with. And then I think we've got like a nice little niche here of money.
Definitely.
I swear to God, man. I'm serious.
PD and Larry Hankin all the way. Do you know something? But I'll hang on after. I'll just sign off with the podcast.
Okay, we'll hang on. We'll talk about it for a second, and then I got to split.
Yeah, I'll let you get on. So again, Larry, thank you so much for being on the show.
Cool.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You're an absolute legend. I can't wait to talk more to you. Thank you very much. Everybody, Larry, what a legendary of a man. Good night.
So long, people. See you again. Okay, thank you, Paul.
Spot on. So, I mean, thank you so much for this.
No, thank you. So look, we did it together. We didn't do it alone. I didn't do it alone. You didn't do it alone. We did it together. Boom.
Interview.
Good.
I'll say I'm pleased you enjoyed my interview technique and you understood me.
Yeah, no, I mean, whatever your technique was, I don't even look at a technique. I just like talking to you. I mean, we were having a conversation. Once we started, I wasn't thinking about camera or be funny or not. I was just telling you the truth of what happened, and you were reacting nicely to it. You understood what I was saying. I understood what you were saying. And that's all. That's all I require. It's just a meeting of the minds. That's all. So we'll talk about my idea. You can come up with any idea and I'll go with you. But my idea is to make an album and don't destroy this. Keep it. You can put it out as whatever you want. Yeah. But this is gold, and we'll save it. And this will be part of the thing. Because here's why. Because you've already heard these stories. So if you start asking me it again, you're not going to react in the same way. TV sitcoms are the same.
Trust me, I'll react the same way because when I like a story or I like a joke, every time I hear it, I piss myself laughing. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. Well, it's just hard for me to repeat to the same person. I've tried it. It doesn't work exactly the same. But okay, look, whatever you want. But this, I don't care what we're going to do in the future. What we just did, I'm telling you, Paul, is gold. and we can, if we never ever met again, this can be sold. That's all I'm saying. The rest will come.
I would love to be able to call you a friend now after this conversation.
Oh, we're buddies.
You know,
buddies.
It didn't feel, you know, I was a little bit nervous, obviously, but it didn't feel, once we got chatting, it felt like I've known you for years, and we were just, you know.
Yeah, that's a podcast. That's what you're going for. Like we're just catching up. That's the best. It's like being the reality in a movie. You know, don't act. Just be real in a movie. Yeah, that's the same thing. Well, like we're catching up.
I'll let you get on.
Okay.
I'll send you a few, you know, get well messages and things while you're in hospital.
Thank you. Yeah, send me a link to this whatever you do when you put it up. Send
this week. It'll be going up this week.
Okay, great. So send me the link, okay? And then I'll be busy with the hospital stuff. So I'll either send you I got it, but blah blah blah. I know it's great. I was watching you. I was watching me. I was hearing myself. There was a flow, you know, in hip hop flow. Okay, there was flow. That's what you're going for, flow. We got it. Cool. Okay, I gotta go now, man.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Talk to you soon.
Speak soon. Cheers, mate. Ta-ra, ta-ra.